How to make baked red velvet donuts with cream cheese frosting. Let's get into it. In a medium-sized bowl, we're going to start making our buttermilk. You want to add half a cup of milk and about half a tablespoon of either vinegar, lemon juice, or lime juice. Whatever you got will work fine. Whisk everything together until well combined. Then set this to the side for about 10 minutes until we're ready to use it, and don't worry if it curdles, it's supposed to do that. In a large bowl, you want to add either a half a cup of dark brown sugar or light brown sugar. Frankly, it's whatever you have, but honestly, dark brown sugar will give you a better taste, but it's up to you. 1 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of salt. Whisk everything together until well combined. Put this to the side for a minute and grab your buttermilk bowl. Next, you want to melt 3 tablespoons of room temperature butter. You might actually want to do this ahead of time, like right after you make the buttermilk, just so it has a couple of minutes to cool down before we're ready to use it. When your butter's cooled down a little bit, add it to your buttermilk. Add 1 room temperature egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Whisk everything together until well combined. When everything's well combined, you want to add your wet ingredients to your dry ingredients. Gently fold everything together until there are flour streaks. Don't fully mix it together because we still have to add our food coloring. So like I said, stop folding here. You can clearly see some flour streaks, that's fine. Add 2 teaspoons of red food coloring. You can use whatever brand you'd like. Now once again, gently fold everything together until it's well combined. Of course, you still want to be careful not to overmix, because your donuts will be tough and hard. When everything is nice and red and all the brown is fully mixed to red, you want to put this aside for a minute and we're going to prep our donut pans. So firstly, to avoid spilling, you want to put your donut pans onto a cookie sheet, like 1 or 2, whatever. You don't need one that's this big. That's totally fine. Next, you want to spray your donut pans, all of the cavities, with Pam spray or grease it with oil, butter, whatever you got. Make sure they're sprayed really well so your donuts don't stick. And of course, while you're spraying, you want to make sure it gets to the bottom and the sides of the donut holes. And with a spoon, you just want to gently and carefully fill your donut holes. And there's no need to go buy piping bags, but if you already have them, feel free to use those, and there's no need to use a tip, you can just cut the end off. And just a fair warning and heads up, this recipe only makes about 9 donuts, so if you're making them for a party, you're definitely going to want to double or triple or quadruple this recipe. But when you're ready to bake off, you're going to bake your donuts off at 325 degrees for about 12 to 14 minutes. However, you are going to have to start checking them earlier than that because you do not want a toothpick inserted coming out clean, totally clean. You still want some dry crumbs attached to it because if you wait for a toothpick to be inserted totally clean, they are going to be dry and hard and taste nasty. When a toothpick inserted comes out almost clean but not totally clean, that still has crumbs on it, take it out of the oven and carefully unmold your donuts. And obviously these are going to be very hot, so be careful. Maybe use like heat-proof gloves or like use some oven mitts or something just so you don't burn yourself. Or if you know that you sprayed it really well, just turn them over and shake it a little. They'll just fall right out. When you're done demolding them, put them on a cookie rack to cool down completely. And yes, put something like tinfoil underneath, because when they're fully cooled down, we're gonna glaze them. So upon realizing one batch of donuts for me personally was not going to be enough, I realized I had to triple my recipe, but don't worry, I will continue giving you guys the regular 1x recipe, and then you guys can multiply it or do whatever you want for yourselves. However, in a medium to large size bowl, you are going to add 3 tablespoons of room temperature salted butter, 3 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Beat on high by hand or with a hand mixer or stand mixer, whatever you got, until smooth and creamy. Next, you want to slowly start adding 2 cups of confectionery sugar, just a little bit at a time, and start beating that in as well on a low speed. And then lastly, add 2 tablespoons of milk. Again, beat on a low speed. When the milk is combined, you want to beat one last time on high speed for about 2 minutes. And when your frosting is ready, grab yourself a knife and start frosting your donuts. Though, of course, before you start frosting your donuts, you definitely want to make sure they are fully cooled down first. And of course, while you're frosting, feel free to top with either sprinkles of choice, colored sugar of choice, mini chocolate chips, whatever you'd like to make it fun. You don't have to, you can also just leave them plain if you prefer, but this just makes it a little more fun. Nice, pretty donuts. And when you're ready, serve and enjoy.